Now, an arrest of a suspect as arson fires put Los Angeles on edge. Ray Suarez has our story.
The first car fire broke out just after midnight on Friday in the city of West Hollywood. 4 more were reported in quick succession. By the end of the night, the total had reached at least 21 fires in Hollywood and West Hollywood, mostly in carports and underground garages. Nobody was hurt, but flames damaged several homes and apartment buildings. The outbreak of apparent arson left firefighters scrambling and residents shaken.
That's my home. I live there. Like, I could have died.
Early Saturday morning, another 16 suspected arson fires turned cars to charred metal. And New Year's Eve brought still more.
And it was done while people were sleeping. And that's the scary part.
Another dozen fires erupted early today. That made more than 50 in at least 4 separate parts of the Los Angeles area over the span of just 4 nights. It was the region's worst arson spree in 2 decades. But investigators caught a break with this surveillance video showing a man with a ponytail. He was coming out of a parking garage on Hollywood Boulevard minutes before a fire began there Saturday evening. Early this morning, a man was detained based on that description.
A Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy assigned to West Hollywood Station stopped the driver of a van near Sunset Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. The van resembled a description provided by the Arson Task Force as possibly being related to the recent fires, and the driver resembled a person of interest seen in a videotape released by the multi-agency Arson Task Force the previous evening.
By this afternoon, he was formally arrested and faced arson charges. The police said damages so far have topped $2 million. The investigation was continuing. For more on the fires that gripped Los Angeles over the weekend, we're joined by Adam Nagorny, Los Angeles bureau chief of the New York Times. Adam, in the past few hours, have we learned any more about this man first picked up as a person of interest?
He's been arrested. He's been charged with arson. They have not officially put out his name yet. They're holding a news conference at 6:15 Pacific time to put out more details about him. I think some of the big questions out there is whether or not he acted alone, whether or not he was able to do this on his own. The police were not specific about that. They suggested they thought so, but at that news conference earlier that you referenced in your report, they said they were continuing the investigation, still talking to people. So that is one of the big questions out there.
With a crime that allows the perpetrator to get away before police and fire arrive on the scene, maybe even far away, did police catch a couple of breaks? Did they get lucky? An arrest came pretty quickly.
Well, 2 things. I agree. The videotape was certainly a break for them. There's so many surveillance cameras in the world these days that I'm not sure I would call it lucky. I'm not sure it's surprising. The police also really flooded the area. There were cops all over the place. And it's basically, you talk about how it was in 4 separate areas. That's totally true, but it was concentrated particularly in Hollywood and West Hollywood, and that's a fairly discrete area. So I always thought that inevitably that he would get caught. I thought maybe it would be 3 days, maybe 4, but I thought inevitably he'd get caught because there's only so many. It's easy to see someone do something. There are so many police out there, and the LAPD has, after years not having a good reputation, has a really good reputation now for cracking crimes.
LA County is a geographically vast, population huge, dazzlingly diverse place. It's hard to name a story that gets everybody's attention. Was this an exception?
I think this was an exception. It's like this, earthquakes, and Carmageddon. But the thing is, like as one of your people you spoke to was saying, there's something about it that was very alarming. And it was not only the fact that when you went to sleep at night, you always had to wonder what was that sound up the street, what's that light change, but also like certainly in the area where this was going on, which happens to be where I live, there would be sirens all night. There'd be helicopters flying over all night. 2 nights ago, I heard a helicopter coming right nearby, so I walked out our front door and there was a car on fire. And so it was very much in people's faces. It's not like, if you're in New York City, this was taking place in Queens. It was really all over the place. And I think that people were very aware of it and people were very much on edge. So no, this definitely had people talking and concerned.
During this short spell of nightly fires, police had advice. They asked people to be on the lookout. Are they asking that people still keep their guard up, that the possibility still exists for more fires?
when at the earlier news conference today, that is one thing they said, which definitely caught my attention, which is why I was wondering whether they consider the case closed or not. They're telling people to keep their lights on at night and watch out for suspicious characters. We'll see if they say that again, because my guess is that most people will continue to do this for a while. One thing I think they have to look out for, the police didn't mention this, but is copycat, right? Even if this guy did act alone, what are there copycat people out there who try to do the same thing? That is a common sort of phenomenon in these kind of arson fires.
Well, I guess one way to check, have there been any similar fires since this so far unnamed suspect was first picked up?
Nope, this guy was picked up at 3 a.m. California time this morning. There's not been a fire since then. Over the past couple nights, they've gone as late as, don't hold me to it, but I think 5 or 6 a.m. So far, so good.
The ATF, a federal agency, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, was one of the agencies in on this investigation. Why is that? How does the federal government get involved in a series of local crimes?
Part of it is, I think, because it's an arson investigation. That's the kind of investigation they would get involved in. Also keep in mind that LA is, in addition to being very diverse, really complicated geographically. And we're talking already 2 different police agencies, the LA County Sheriff's and the Los Angeles Police Department, because it covers such a vast area of, and so many different communities and so many towns. And one thing they did was set up a task force of all these different agencies to kind of coordinate it. So I think it was just a way of sort of keeping things together and having more expertise brought in.
Do we know anything yet about the MO or any good theories about how such a large number of fires were set? Do we know how the arsonist was setting these garages on fire?
We don't know that yet. There's been a lot of rumors out there about whether or not he used Molotov cocktails, whether or not he used timing devices. The fact that there was a space and time with that videotape between when he left the garage on Highland, I believe it was on Highland and Hollywood, and when it went up in flames, makes people think that there must have been a timing device in play. The other thing that makes people think, and again, at this point we're just speculating just based on facts, thinks there must be a timing device in play, is that these things happen in such sort of concentration. Like on the first night, on Friday morning, early Friday morning, it would be like attack, 2 minutes later another attack, and you could hear it because you'd hear a set of sirens, and then a few seconds later you hear another set of sirens further away in the city, and the police and the fire department spent their whole night chasing around fires from place to place. And either there's 2 people doing it or he was able to do it in a timer. In any event, he was able to overwhelm the fire department and the police department for a while.
And so you'll be hearing from the authorities involved in a little while in California time?
Yeah, they're holding a news conference. They were going to book him as we're speaking now. They were going to officially book him, and once he's officially booked, his name is released. But they want to hold a news conference with all the political leaders. I'm not saying that they're doing it because they wanted to take some credit in this, but just in case they are. At about 6:15, the mayor will be there, the fire department chief will be there, the police chief will be there, and we'll presumably get even more details at that point. But I think the main question here that people are wondering about is, did this guy, assuming obviously is he guilty, did he act alone? Did this put an end to this? I mean, it's hard to exaggerate. This is obviously a city an area that's used to various kind of external threats, whether it's mudslides or earthquakes. But it's hard to exaggerate the extent to which this sort of put people on edge. There was something very anonymous about it and very disconcerting about it because it was random, because it happened at night, because no one got hurt here, but that was just a matter of luck because he blew up cars, but a lot of these cars set buildings on fires. And I know people who normally keep their car in their driveway who parked it on the street just because they didn't want to have a situation of like having their car blow up and then having their house set on fire. So people were very nervous about this.
Adam Nagorny of the New York Times, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.